Disclaimer. The comments made in this video are intended solely for entertainment purposes and are not intended to harm or offend anyone.
From a man who shamelessly pleads for leniency despite repeatedly finding himself in trouble.
We give you a PR bond and you continue to pick up new cases. You continue to do things where we're asking you not to do things, and it continues to happen.
To another whose violent outbursts with guns and machetes erupt over minor disputes.
You've got 2 open aggravated assault cases and you got an assault of a family member with us.
These cases expose the audacity of offenders who refuse to take accountability. Starting with repeat offender Mr. Curry, who nonchalantly dares to request another PR bond despite having no clear plan for his future.
But it has been on the docket. I don't understand. It's on today's docket.
Just I checked the recording. She said it's on her docket. It's not on the docket. It's not posted up.
My God, that's an old case. Okay.
And I just need to have a.
I'm not going to do long, you know.
December 15th or something.
Which day?
December.
I was going to do a week. It's over a year. Shh.
That's fine.
Morgan. Can you help me out real quick? I'm going to give you this cause number. This case is really, really old. If you guys can just eval it.
We're ready for the cause number.
245-6295. I was just going to roll it a week to give you time to to eval it. It's okay. Just, take your time. But I just want to give you notice that it's an old case.
Thank you, Judge.
So, okay.
I've never had that.
Yes.
It's all right. Not a big deal, but we'll see you in a week.
Yes, we will evaluate objection. I know what case you're in.
Thanks. Okay, Hugh. Good morning, Mr. Curry. How are you? Your lawyer is asking me to give you a PR bond, or is that what you want? But the problem is that, shh. Mr. Curry, if you want me to give you a PR bond, you got to talk to me. Okay. We give you a PR bond and you continue to pick up new cases. You continue to do things where we're asking you not to do things, and it continues to happen. You said that the last time. Where are you staying now? Who do you have in your life that's willing to help you out now? I can't, you need to speak louder. I'm hard of hearing. So if we were to let you out, you're just going to be on the street?
You're staying over by Eldridge? Okay.
The last thing I want to do is give you a PR bond and you just end up on the street. That is setting you up for failure, and I don't want to do that.
It's frustrating to witness someone repeatedly appear in court for the same poor decisions. How many chances does he think he deserves before realizing that life on the streets isn't the answer?
If you have someone that's willing to take you in, mother, father, brother, cousin, aunt, uncle, I'm happy to talk about it and getting you a place to go to, but I don't want you out on the street. Nothing good happens on the street. So how old are you? Okay, where's mom and dad? Shh. God. Where's mom and dad? Why are you here and not Mississippi? Speak louder, man. I can't hear you. And what happened to that job? So what did you end up doing? Just staying on the street then? Who else do you have here?
I had someone I could call and get in touch with, but I had to get in touch with.
I am willing to give you a PR bond if you have somewhere to go. I'm not letting you out on the street, though.
Handling cases like this can be exhausting, especially when dealing with offenders who are homeless. By this point, it's clear that Judge Fleischer is exasperated, trying tirelessly to help this man save himself.
If you have someone's number, name, any kind of way that we can get in contact where you have a place to put your head down at night, I'm willing to let you out. So you got to work with us to find out how we can find you a place, and then we can get it done. But the street it's not a good place. It's too dangerous, and I don't want you to have to resort to doing things that you shouldn't be doing. So Hugh, let's comb his paperwork to see if there's something else that we have in there, but not to the street. Anywhere else, I'm okay with it. But,
Sure. Okay.
yeah.
Get it to a home or some kind of a house.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. Mr. Curry, let us know, man.
Even compassion has its limits, and the best option left for the judge is to encourage Mr. Curry to reach out to his family if he has anyone at all. While Mr. Curry is left to figure out his next move, Mr. Jalen faces charges of driving while intoxicated.
You were Jalen Washington. Mr. Washington, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
On November 7th, 2024, officers conducted a traffic stop on the defendant's motor vehicle after observing it driving with an expired registration as of July 2024 and failing to maintain a single lane, with both left tires crossing over the white marked lanes and the defendant's vehicle failing to signal a lane change. The defendant was the driver of the motor vehicle, and upon contact, the officer observed him with a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage, glossy eyes, swayed balance, slurred speech, and the defendant was slow to answer questions at times.
Driving without a license wasn't enough. He had to add getting high behind the wheel to the mix. It's infuriating to see a young person so blatantly disregard the law, likely feeling invincible.
The defendant admitted to drinking, and standard field sobriety tests were administered. HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 5 out of 8, one leg stand 2 out of 4. The DIC was read, and the defendant consented to breath. The results were 0.106 and 0.106.
Mr. Washington, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. How old are you, sir? What do you do for a living?
Currently, I work at FedEx, but I'm in college.
You're currently enrolled in college? Great. Where do you go?
PV. Sorry.
Okay. What are you studying?
Architecture, civil engineering.
Fantastic. Great. It's a big hiccup, man. This can really affect you. Anytime you want to get licensed to be an architect, you got to be licensed. All this.
Judge Fleischer, as always, makes sure to remind offenders of the real consequences of their reckless behavior.
I'm ordering you now as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or unprescribed controlled medication. You're not allowed to smoke any marijuana. I'm going to test you. If I find that you continue to use, I'm going to put you in jail. Do you understand? I'm not asking much. I'm just asking to stay clean. That's it. Do you have a Texas driver license?
Yes, sir.
Do you have liability insurance in your name?
But I don't have a vehicle.
Do you see if he has a license? Any prior DWIs as well?
There are no priors, Your Honor. I'll run his license right now.
You don't have insurance in your name, then you're not allowed to drive any vehicle. You have to have insurance for, I don't care what car you're driving, unless you have insurance on whatever car you're driving, then you may not drive. And don't come up here and tell me, well, the car has insurance. No, people get insured. Do you understand?
Your Honor, he's eligible.
Okay. Did you want to apply for an appointed lawyer? You're going to go hire a lawyer? Okay. If you have any issues, if you want me to appoint your lawyer, just come back, tell me, and I'm happy to do it. I mean, money that you have, I'd rather you spend it on school. Are you sure? You don't want an appointed lawyer?
I'll make a phone call to you. Yes.
Okay.
His bond conditions are clear, but the question remains, will he take them seriously? This time, it's a young woman whose reckless behavior makes you wonder if these offenders truly choose destruction over their future.
Danielle Free. Miss Free, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, ma'am.
On November 6, 2024, officers conducted a traffic stop on the defendant's motor vehicle after observing it speeding 55 miles per hour in a 40-mile-per-hour zone in the 7800 block of Spencer Highway. Upon contact with the defendant, the officer detected an odor of an alcoholic beverage on the defendant's breath, and standard field sobriety tests were conducted. HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 3 out of 8, and one leg stand 3 out of 4. The defendant admitted to drinking and to taking prescription muscle relaxers on occasion. The officer located a case of twisted teas in the defendant's motor vehicle with 2 open cans of twisted teas, 1 in each cup holder. And
Consuming while driving?
There were 2 open cans in the cup holders, yes, Your Honor. And DICs were read and the defendant consented to blood.
Reaching this level of irresponsibility, putting not just herself but the public in danger, is outrageous. There's simply no excuse for such behavior.
Ms. Free, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I'm now ordering you not to drive. Do you understand? You are not allowed to drive any vehicle whatsoever for any reason. You will be signing an affidavit with me today, promising me you're not going to drive. If I find that you do, I will have a contempt hearing. You'll be facing an additional 6 months in jail and a $500 fine every time you drive. Do you understand?
As expected, Judge Fleischer isn't going to let her actions go unchecked. It's unfortunate that her selfish and unreasonable decisions are now costing her the right to drive freely.
I'm also ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. You will be randomly tested. If you consume alcohol, illegal drugs, unprescribed controlled medication, likewise, you will go to jail. No more PR bonds. Do you understand? Any prior DWIs, Alex?
No, Your Honor.
Any prior criminal history at all?
She has a prior racing on a highway that was dismissed earlier this year.
What do you do for a living, Ms. Free? Why?
I just graduated nursing school, so I was a CNA and caregiver in an independent care facility. But right now I help take care of my great grandma, so it's just a lot at once.
So how do you support yourself? How do you eat?
I live with my grandparents and I help them take care of her. She can't take care of herself. She has dementia and a mental disorder.
I'll fill out an application for you. I need to know everything about you, how much money you make, what kind of car you drive, any source of income that you have, money in the bank, stocks, bonds, IRAs. I'll have you fill out an application, but I need to know everything about you. Don't just put zeros because I'm going to send it right back to you. Do you understand? And I'll see whether you qualify. Above all else, do not drive. Do you understand? There's no justification that you can give for getting in a car. Likewise, don't consume alcohol or drugs. If you have a problem, you better address it, because if you don't, I'm going to do it for you. Promise you're not going to like the way that I do it. You understand? Okay.
Claiming to care for her family while endangering countless others on the road is absurd. The best thing she can do now is to follow all of Judge Fleischer's orders. Unlike Ms. Free, who faces the consequences of driving while intoxicated, Mr. Martinez finds himself in an even more serious situation with multiple charges. Let's take a closer look at his additional offense and how Judge Fleischer approaches it.
Christian Martinez Velasquez.
Yes.
Mr. Martinez Velasquez, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On November 7th, 2024, the officer alerted dispatch about a traffic hazard regarding the defendant's motor vehicle after observing it sway in the moving lane of traffic, impede traffic when the defendant had the green light, and upon contact with the vehicle, the officer observed the defendant to be asleep in the driver's seat. The defendant's foot was on the brake and the vehicle was on. After the officer woke the defendant by banging on the window, he seemed disoriented, and the officer observed glossy, bloodshot eyes, an odor of an alcoholic beverage, and slow movements. The officer observed an open Modelo beer can in the cup holder next to the vehicle.
Alcohol in the car while driving?
It's appalling how some people completely abandon reason. There is absolutely no justification for drinking and driving. This is a blatant example of someone willing to endanger everyone's lives.
Yes, Your Honor. And the defendant admitted to drinking 3 beers and 1 shot before driving. Standard field sobriety tests were administered. HGN 6 out of 6. Walk and turn 4 out of 8. 1 leg stand 0 out of 4. The DIC was read and the defendant consented to breath. The results were 0.087 and 0.086.
Mr. Martinez Velasquez, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Are you a citizen of the United States?
No,
Are you in this country with or without permission?
without permission.
What happens if you go to jail?
But it gets worse. As if driving under the influence wasn't enough, Mr. Martinez had to complicate his case further with immigration issues.
Ya, saqué tuve un error y
I don't know.
What happens if you go to jail?
Si usted va a la cárcel.
At this point, Judge Fleischer is starting to lose his patience with this man's case, and who could blame him?
Are you in this country with or without permission?
Es como sin permiso.
sin permiso.
Without permission.
What happens if you go to jail?
O sea, si usted va a la cárcel.
No sé qué decir, pues tengo mi familia, tengo mi hija.
I don't know what to say. I have my family, I have my daughter.
I don't care if you have Jesus waiting for you. You're not answering my question. What happens if you go to jail?
Pasa si usted va a la cárcel.
I want you to
¿Qué le
think.
pasa? Quiero que piense.
Pues que voy a estar, no voy a estar libre, voy a estar en un lugar donde no quiero estar por mis consecuencias.
I wouldn't be free. I would be somewhere I wouldn't want to be because, as a consequence,
You are not in this country with permission.
no está en el país.
If you go to jail,
Si usted va a la cárcel,
immigration sweeps the jail every
cárcel,
couple hours. If they find you in the jail, they will put an immigration detainer on you, and you will be stuck like Chuck in jail until this case is over with. And then you get shipped off to immigration, where you will sit for another 6 to 9 months waiting for them to do whatever they're going to do. The incoming president does not have very much sympathy for you, if you catch my drift.
It's exactly what he deserves, a clear warning to him and others that making such reckless choices comes with consequences. He needs to understand that actions have repercussions.
And I'm going to tell you now, the fact that you have an open container, if they allege it in the information, it is a minimum of 5 days in jail to any sentence that you do. Now, I'll tell you, any more than 4 to 6 hours you spend in custody is very well that you may get an immigration detainer. I am putting conditions on your bond now, and if you violate these conditions, I will, in a moment's notice, put you in jail, and I will not give you another PR bond.
no le daré otra
The reason you got out of jail so quick is we gave you a free bond. It's not going to happen again. Do you understand? First and foremost, you are not to drive. I don't care what's going on in your life. I don't care what you need. I don't care what you have to do. Kids, groceries, Jesus, don't drive. You will be signing an affidavit. This is a promise you're making to me that you're not going to drive. I am also ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs, and I will randomly test you. If I find that you're consuming alcohol or illegal drugs, likewise, you will go to jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Do you understand?
Correcto, sí.
Yes.
Forewarned is fair
Está
warned.
advertido.
You will not get any warnings from us.
Do you think this man, who has already stayed in the country without permission, can genuinely respect his bond conditions and avoid repeating this offense? Now let's dive into another troubling case involving Mr. Giddon, who is facing serious charges for assaulting his own mother.
Thank you so much for coming. What is the gentleman's name?
No, the first name's Freakout.
Oh, is it Giddon? Are you Mr. Giddon? Shh. Mr. Giddon?
Yes.
Good morning, sir. Mr. Giddon, you are charged with assault of a family member. Do you understand the charge against you? You are facing a year in jail and/or a $4,000 fine. We need to do probable cause. I need to find out what happened. So we're going to do that real quick. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you.
Yeah.
Is he okay to understand everything? Yeah? Okay, all right. So we're going to do that real quick. We'll find out what happened, okay?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, go slow, Alex, please. No. Stay here. Stay here. Stay here. We need to just find out what happened.
Yes, Judge. The complainant and the defendant are mother and son. The officers were dispatched to apartments in Harris County, Texas, in response to a family disturbance. The complainant told the officers that the defendant is diagnosed with mental disabilities and that he is known to wander away from the residence. The defendant was upset because he was not being allowed to leave and grabbed the complainant on the forearm, squeezing it with full strength and causing scratches, bleeding, and pain.
Is mom here?
She was, he asked her to leave.
I just asked her to step out. She wasn't properly dressed for court, so.
Yes.
Can you
she-
bring her in, please?
Yes, if she, I went out there a few weeks ago, I didn't see her.
It's okay. Hopefully we can find her.
Squeezing her hands hard enough to cause scratches and bleeding is beyond unacceptable, and using his mental health condition as an excuse doesn't justify it.
Mind just hanging out with us? I'd like to wait until mom comes, so we left all the way. Do you want to call her? Do you want to call to see if she's, you can use it here. That's fine. Just call her.
Hey, Judge, while she's doing that, can you take a look at page 38, Johnson? We need a bond set.
They're not coming to get her? It's an ag assault.
If we give her a bond, we said they'll issue
50,000. But, I mean,
She's not even out from the phone.
41.
I'm sorry, she's not even out from the phone.
do you think she'll come back? I mean, we can wait. There's no rush. If you want to just like, sure, take your time, but just don't leave though, because I want to give you guys a lawyer and I want to talk about how to go forward. And I'd like to talk to
Right here, and I'm gonna go out and look for
right over there, just wherever you want, but don't leave, guys, okay?
Do you think his health condition is enough to excuse his actions? Considering that his mother felt compelled to press charges, it clearly shows that even she couldn't overlook his behavior. Mr. Singleton escalated a minor dispute into a violent altercation involving guns and machetes.
All right. Morning, Mr. Singleton.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Been wearing, it's Thursday, Friday Eve. Ready for the weekend,
Yes, sir.
So
See, you have the decorations.
thanks. Well, it's all them.
Yes, sir.
Your lawyer has asked for me, or is asking for a bond reduction in your case, but my concern, and I guess my very, very primary concern is public safety. You've got a lot of serious charges, and from what I see, your bond is now at around 200,000. You've got 2 open aggravated assault cases, and you got an assault of a family member with us. Our bond is set at 5,002. What did you guys want?
This is a serious case, and it's clear that Judge Fleischer won't let it slide easily.
possibly looking for a PR bond due to the fact that his other 2 cases are extremely high. We believe that he should be able to bond out on that. He has been in talks with some family members regarding possibly coming up with money for the other 2 bonds, but reducing it here would possibly help him out regarding the overall amount that he will have to come up with.
Well, so my concern is, it looks like in September, he had an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon dismissed, right?
I believe that case got filed twice,
So what's going on with the cases upstairs? And is it the same complaining witness as our case?
There's two complaining witnesses on those cases, Judge. And it looks as though it's a different complainant with us.
Is there a weapon involved? Is it a shooting?
On the aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, Judge, so in the felony cases, there's 2 weapons involved, a machete and a gun, a 9mm handgun.
Does he shoot at them? Does he shoot
At them. So the state would be opposed to lowering bond, Judge, given the severity and the propensity to violence that felony cases.
The audacity to even request a less severe bond is astounding. This man poses an obvious threat to those around him, yet he thinks paying a fine is enough to walk away.
Oh, I think I remember this case. It's about a neighbor, and it's either about like a fence or it's about some bushes or some, right? So,
So the state's concern is community safety, Judge. So for those reasons, we would be opposed to lowering his bond.
Even if it's not going totally to a PR, if possible to do 2,500, that would be.
I don't know, you know, I mean, we gave you a PR bond in this case. I let you out, right? And then you go out, you allegedly have these now 2 aggravated assault cases where in one, you point a gun at someone.
Shoot them in the head.
And if I remember, it's something so trivial over. Don't talk about the cases though, because I don't want you to.
I wouldn't incriminate myself or anything, but I live by truth, sir. And these people stole stuff from me.
No.
But, Mr. Singleton,
Not that.
but there's a certain way when someone takes something from you, there's a certain way that you got to act.
I'm the one
You
that
know?
called the police, Your Honor.
And that may be so, but there's still a certain way to act, right? And if you.
The fact that he's trying to make excuses to justify his actions is outrageous.
Refresh my memory because I just don't remember it.
I can read.
Yeah, go for it. Just a brief synopsis.
On or about September 7th, 2024, complainant Sarver his truck when he was awoken by the defendant knocking on the window with a 9mm handgun. The defendant then pointed the gun at complainant Sarver and demanded that the complainant get out of the car. When complainant Sarver got out of the car, the defendant stated that he would shoot the complainant in the head. Complainant Sarver advised that prior to coming home from work and having his incident with the defendant, the complainant too was also involved in an altercation with the defendant earlier in the night. The second complainant stated that an altercation arose between him and the defendant, which resulted in the defendant punching the second complainant in the face, causing him pain. The second complainant punched the defendant back and the defendant ran to his house. Shortly after, the defendant returned with a machete in one hand and a stick in the other and was calling out for the second complainant to come out to the street. So it seems as though he pointed a gun at complainant 1, and then in complainant 2, he punched him, and then when the complainant punched him back, he came back with a machete and a stick.
Sorry, Mr. Singleton, just too dangerous for me, man. I can't give you a PR bond. I already gave you a PR bond. We let you out, and then you pick up these 2 serious cases. You know, if we give you a PR bond now, if we were to lower it, I mean, what's going to happen? You're going to pick up a 4th case? We're trying to prevent that from happening, you know?
Order in the court.
It's clear this man doesn't even want to learn from his past mistakes. He probably needs a serious lesson to understand the consequences of his behavior.
But not about the cases, okay? Just because I don't want you to hurt yourself, you know?
I understand, Your Honor, but I don't recall you ever giving me a PR bond, sir.
We gave you a PR bond on, in our case, we gave it to you on 8/12 of 24. I gave you a PR bond. We let you out of jail. You know, you had certain conditions that you're supposed to follow. No weapons, no contact with the complaining witnesses. And so here we are with 2 very serious cases. If you're able to bond out, and if you have someone, come back, talk, perhaps we can.
My fiance.
No, but.
The person who this is.
You're your own worst enemy, Mr. Singleton, really. I mean, you're
I'm
your
sorry.
own worst enemy.
I guess it's the military.
Well, don't blame it on the military. They're choices, right? And
yes,
sometimes choices are made such that.
I know I need help, Your Honor. I'm not saying I don't need help.
Now, he's suddenly claiming that he needs help, likely out of fear.
However,
the problem is that you can't do that after the fact.
I understand.
You got to recognize it before the fact, before it balloons out of control. That's why, you know, and it's not our first rodeo here with you. You've had prior assaultive cases like this. So you have to understand that when you get these feelings, these urges that you're going to lose, just You got to try to take care of this beforehand. Now, why don't we have him TRAS'd? Okay, let's see what it says. Let's see how to go forward. You know, if they say that there's treatment that's, you know, I have options available to help you with these issues. And I'm willing to help you and I want to. Yeah, we will do it. But the first things first is I got to have you evaluated to see how we go forward. And if you let me do this, and if you're honest with me, Mr. Singleton, let's try to work something.
I will be.
All right. Can you set up a TRAS for Mr. Singleton? Yeah, please. I'm going to set you for an evaluation. I'm going to have you speak to clinicians. Be honest.
I will.
We'll come back in a couple days. Today's what, Thursday? Come back on Tuesday. Let's talk about how we go forward. Okay?
Yeah.
Look, this isn't the be all end all, but let's see how we go forward. You know, that's why God put eyes in the front, so we go forward. We don't go backwards. All right? Okay. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Stay. Okay?
What are your thoughts on Judge Fleischer's order? Does it seem like a free pass for attempted murder, or an acknowledgement that mental health issues require treatment, not just punishment?